There's a lot of hype around Chinese electric vehicles, and there's also a lot the media is not telling you. For the past few years, a familiar narrative has been building across the American automotive media, mostly car reviewers and automotive outlets. They're saying Chinese electric cars are the best thing since sliced bread. But Chinese electric vehicles, we're told, are about to reshape the global car market. And reviewers praise their low prices, their sleek interiors, and their feature-packed dashboards. That may be true in some ways, but there are commentators that speculate about the coming wave of imports that could challenge American, European, and Japanese automakers alike. The excitement is constant. Models from companies like BYD, Geely, and newer startups are often portrayed as the next big disruption in the industry. They've won tons of awards, and they've put out a lot of product. But some analysts point to BYD surprising Tesla in global EV sales as evidence that the balance of power is shifting from the US, for electric cars, to China. But when you step back and look behind the headlines, a more complicated picture emerges. The hype surrounding Chinese EVs has far outpaced the realities of technology, market economics, and long-term ownership risks. In many cases, the conversation in the United States has focused almost entirely on price and novelty while ignoring deeper concerns about reliability, safety, and the financial stability of the companies producing these vehicles. The result is a narrative that may be incomplete at best and misleading at worst. One of the first realities often left out of this discussion is that most of these vehicles are not currently available in the United States. High tariffs and regulatory barriers make direct entry into the American market extremely difficult. That means much of the media enthusiasm is based on showroom impressions, overseas test drives, and speculative comparisons rather than real-world ownership experiences in North America. Now, they are coming into Canada, and they are also in Mexico as well as other countries. But here in the US, we've only had a few test cars, and I've driven a few of them. But meanwhile, in other parts of the world where Chinese EVs are already operating in large numbers, the story is far less uniform. Cold weather performance has become a particular point of concern. Electric vehicles in general lose efficiency when temperatures drop, but reports from regions with harsh winters suggest that Chinese models struggle more than expected. Range losses of 30% to 40% during freezing conditions have been widely documented in winter testing environments. Batteries lose efficiency, charging times increase, and vehicle systems must consume additional power simply to maintain battery temperature and cabin comfort. For drivers in northern climates, that matters. A vehicle rated for a certain range in ideal conditions may deliver far less in real-world winter environments. For American buyers in places like Chicago, Denver, or in the Northeast, that gap between advertised performance and winter reality can become a very serious usable issue, and we've covered that before on this channel. Safety concerns have also surfaced around certain design trends, particularly the increased use of electronic door systems and retractable door handles. That's been on a lot of vehicles, whether they be electric or otherwise. But these features are marketed as futuristic and aerodynamic, but they also introduce additional points of failure. If power is lost after a collision, electric mechanisms can malfunction and become inoperable, and some regulators and safety analysts have begun questioning whether these systems could complicate emergency exits after accidents. This is true on most electric vehicles and some gasoline-powered vehicles as well. In several markets, drivers have reported issues with door locks and handles freezing and failing in cold conditions due to condensation inside the electric motors that operate them. While not unique to Chinese manufacturers, these problems highlight the risks that come with added complexity of electric components to basic mechanical functions. Now, despite these concerns, which are not specific to electric cars, much of the coverage in the Western media has focused almost entirely on the appealing aspects of these vehicles: large screens, high-tech interiors, and aggressive pricing. Those elements certainly matter, but they are only a part of the ownership equation. Another issue that rarely receives enough attention is the structure of China's electric vehicle industry in itself. Over the past decade, government incentives and industrial policy in China's encouragement of massive expansion of EV startups. Dozens of companies entered the market, each trying to build the next breakthrough vehicle. The strategy led to rapid innovation, but also created significant overcapacity. Manufacturers began producing vehicles at a pace that exceeded the actual demand. And the Chinese government subsidizes the sale of each of these vehicles in order to lower the price below what the market value is for all of the other brands. So for you, the consumer, it looks like the price is half of what it might be for any other product. But what you're getting is a vehicle that may not be around down the road, may not have service, but is certainly subsidized by the Chinese government. But the demand is not where the actual production is. Now the consequences of that expansion are starting to appear. According to multiple industry forecasts from institutes such as Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan Chase, China's vehicle market could slow significantly in coming years, and analysts expect sales growth to weaken and potentially decline as government incentives wind down and the market becomes saturated. Reports from outlets including South China Morning Post suggest that as many as 50 Chinese EV brands could face closure, mergers, or major restructuring if current trends continue. In other words, the industry that produced so many new manufacturers may soon begin consolidating dramatically or just disappearing. And that possibility raises a critical question for buyers anywhere in the world. What happens if the company behind your vehicle disappears? Automobiles today rely heavily on software updates, proprietary components, and specialized service networks. If a manufacturer goes bankrupt or exits the market, replacement parts, technical support, and system updates may become difficult or literally impossible to obtain, and we have seen this before in the past with brands like Fisker. A vehicle that seems like a bargain at the time of purchase could quickly lose resale value, and if the buyers begin to question whether it will be supported in the future, that's a problem. This risk is not theoretical. Automotive history is filled with examples of brands that vanished after financial trouble, leaving owners struggling to maintain their vehicles. In the modern EV era, that challenge could become even more complicated due to the reliance on software platforms, digital systems, and charging infrastructures. Financial pressures within China's EV sector are already significant. Some analysts estimate that certain companies operate with profit margins equivalent to only a few $100s per vehicle sold domestically. Heavy research and development spending, aggressive price competition, and rapid expansion have left many firms operating with minimal room for error. At the same time, Chinese manufacturers are investing enormous sums in advanced driver assistance systems, infotainment platforms, and battery technology in an attempt to outdo competitors. While that innovation can lead to impressive features, it also adds cost and increases financial strain when vehicles must be discounted to maintain sales. The result is a market environment where not every participant will survive. None of this means Chinese automakers should be dismissed outright. Several major companies appear well positioned to remain global players. Firms such as BYD, Geely, and established international groups with strong financial backing have scale and resources necessary to navigate consolidation. Some Chinese brands have also made genuine advancements in battery technology and manufacturing efficiency, and in certain segments, they are producing competitive vehicles at prices that challenge traditional automakers. But responsible analysis requires looking at the full picture, not just the most exciting headline. For American consumers, the reality is that the EV market itself is already undergoing a period of adjustment, and after years of rapid growth under pressure from federal government subsidies, demand in some regions and most regions of the country have stabilized. Automakers around the world are rethinking production timelines, scaling back overly ambitious targets, and focusing on profitability instead of raw expansion under pressure from federal governments. But even Tesla, long considered the benchmark for EV success, has faced increased competition and shifting demand patterns, and they're changing their business plan as well. In this environment, the idea that a massive wave of inexpensive Chinese EVs will simply arrive and dominate the U.S. market ignores the complexity of the global trade policy, regulatory requirements, and consumer expectations. American buyers care about reliability, resale value, safety ratings, dealer networks, and long-term service support. Those factors cannot be evaluated through short-term test drives or social media reviews alone. Automotive history shows that building a durable brand takes decades. Companies must establish trust, maintain service networks, support vehicles for years after sale, and consistently deliver reliable products. It's not something that can be accomplished overnight through aggressive pricing or impressive touchscreens. For now, the conversation about Chinese electric vehicles should be grounded in realism rather than hype. Some manufacturers will succeed and become global competitors. Others will disappear as the market consolidates. And many vehicles that look impressive today may never reach American showrooms due to tariffs, safety regulations, and political considerations. Consumers deserve a clear and balanced view of these realities, and the future of the global auto industry will certainly include electric vehicles, and Chinese manufacturers will play a role in that transition. But the narrative that they are about to overwhelm the American market ignores the economic pressures, the technological challenges, and the industry shakeout already underway. For buyers, the smartest approach is the same one that has always applied to major automotive purchases. Look beyond the headlines, examine the long-term stability of the manufacturer, and consider how the vehicle will perform not just in the showroom, but in real-world conditions over years of ownership. The excitement surrounding Chinese EVs may dominate today's headlines, especially car reviewers, but whether the excitement translates into lasting success remains a very open question. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and check out our car review channel, Car Smarts. You can support me by buying me a cup of coffee, and if you want even more content, check out the links in the description. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching.